Hey, what's up? It's Chris from Brooker Films, and in today's video I'm talking all about drone hyperlapses. So let's get into it. So I've previously talked about hyperlapses and time-lapses on this channel before, and I've talked about gimbal hyperlapses as well, but I've never actually talked about drone hyperlapses. So let's get into it. So as we've learned in previous episodes, a time-lapse is basically a series of still photos taken with an interval in between each photo, and then they're stitched together to create one epic looking video. And they're typically used to show the passing of time within video. And a hyperlapse is basically the exact same thing as a time-lapse, except it incorporates camera movement within the time-lapse. A drone hyperlapse follows the same technique as a normal hyperlapse, but instead of shooting on the ground, you're shooting all the way up there. So all that we need to complete this hyperlapse is a drone. And in this example, I'm using the DJI Phantom 4. So to start shooting our hyperlapse, we just need to find the location. Now, make sure it's open, make sure it's not across a town, and make sure that it's legal to fly there. There are drone laws put in place to prevent you from flying into specific flight paths, just to avoid you crashing into airplanes or going into unwanted airspaces. So make sure you know where you're flying and make sure you know that it's not a problem to fly there. Now, my next tip is to film at the right time of day. Unfortunately, I'm filming on a very grey and very cloudy day, and normally I would completely avoid this, but due to my insane schedule, this is the only time that I can actually film this video. I would always advise to film at sunrise or sunset. That's golden hour. You will achieve the best results from this, and you will achieve some incredible cinematic footage. So to set up your drone, format your card and load up your camera settings. Pull across the settings tab, switch to manual mode, adjust your shutter speed and your ISO, then swipe across to the photo tab. Adjust the image size to 4:3 and change the image format to RAW. This will ensure that your camera captures the most color information from the camera as is physically possible, and this means that you're going to have a lot of color information in the edit to play with. So now that we've set the camera to the correct settings, we need to take off. Pull the controls down to the far right and left and then take off. Now, once in the air, check that your image is correctly exposed, and if it is, go into this menu here and press Tap Fly. Tap the point on the screen where you want your drone to head towards and then adjust the speed to the lowest possible setting. Now just simply press go. From here you want to take a picture with the shutter button on your controller every 5 to 6 seconds. Now you're going to have to keep doing this until you have over 100 images. Once you've taken all of your still images from this hyperlapse, you need to safely land your drone, and then you need to get those image files onto your computer. So let's go and do that.
So once you have transferred your files onto your computer, you need to get these into Adobe Lightroom for color grading. So once we've loaded up Lightroom, we're just going to press the import button and we're going to find our pictures. So as soon as you've found all of your images, you want to import all of them. Once you have imported those photos into your library tab, you need to start color grading and color processing these. So I'm just going to press the first image in that sequence and I'm going to go over to the develop tab. Now, when I'm in the develop tab, this is the first image of the sequence, and I just want to go through the process of color grading and color correcting this. So to begin with, I'm just going to start by pulling down my highlights and pulling up my shadows a little bit. I'm then going to add some clarity into this shot, and then I'm going to boost the vibrance to add some more saturation into this shot. And then from here, I'm just going to adjust the temperature to make this a little bit warmer. And then from there, I'm just going to go down to HSL and I'm going to manipulate the green and make this green a bit more vivid. So I'm going to go down towards the green in the hue section of the HSL. And I'm just going to drag that across to find a point where I'm happy. I'm just going to do the same thing for the blues. I'm just going to pull the blues down. Okay, so once you're happy with your color grade, you want to copy all of these effects that you've added. So go to the bottom left and press copy. Now you want to make sure that everything here is selected. If you're missing a few of these, then press the check all box here and then press copy. So now from here, we want to go back over to our library. We want to select everything. So we're going to do that by pressing Command A. We're going to go down to sync settings in the bottom right. We're going to press that, make sure everything again here is selected like the previous menu. Check all if you have to. And then we're going to synchronize. So once you have pressed sync settings, that's just going to copy all of that color grading from the first image onto all of the other images. You now need to export these back into a JPEG format in order for you to import them into Adobe Premiere or your video editor of choice. So we're just going to do that by pressing Command and A and selecting all of them again. Then we're going to go down to export. If you are low on hard drive space, then I would recommend pulling your quality down to around 60 or 70. However, if you do have the room on your computer, then I would advise just maxing this out to 100 and then pressing export. As soon as your image files have finished exporting in Adobe Lightroom, we need to go over to Adobe Premiere Pro and import these into there. So we're just going to go over to Premiere, and in our Import Media to Start tab, I'm just going to double click and I'm just going to press Import. So in this example, what I'm going to do, I'm going to press the first image of the sequence. I'm going to go down to Options and I'm going to make sure that image sequence is selected. And now from here, I'm just going to press Import. Okay, so pressing image sequence has meant that this is imported as one video file, which means we can create a new sequence from this. So I'm just going to press new sequence from clip, and then I'm just going to scrub through and just have a look at this. So as you'll notice when we're playing this back, it is a little bit bumpy. It's not too bad, but it's a little bit bumpy. So we're going to add some stabilization to this. So to do this, we need to go over to the Effects tab. We need to search for Warp Stabilizer. That's that one here. And we just need to drag the Warp Stabilizer VFX on top of this footage layer. So if we go over to this Effect Controls tab, you'll notice that the Warp Stabilizer is just analyzing this shot. Okay, so the stabilization process has worked an absolute treat and that looks incredible. But we need this to be in a widescreen video format so that we can put it on YouTube. So what we're going to do, we're going to go up to the File tab, and we're going to press New Sequence. And we're going to rename this to Hyperlapse, let's say. And then we're going to go over to the Settings tab, and we're going to make sure that the frame size is 1920 by 1080 and our time base is 23.976 frames per second. And then we're just going to press OK. Okay, so now we need to drag that edited sequence onto this timeline. So we're going to go over to here and we're just going to drag the DJI_0057 sequence onto our timeline. And then we're just going to scale this down so that it fits into this project. So we're going to press it, we're going to go over to the Motion tab, and we're just going to pull the scale down until that nicely fills up the frame. 49. Now if we wanted to add a little bit more motion into this hyperlapse, then all we would need to do is go to the very beginning, add a keyframe to our scale and our position, scroll all the way to the end -1 frame, and then we can just adjust our scale. There you go, that's made some amazing camera movement and that looks really good and I'm super happy with that. The drone hyperlapse is a fun and really cinematic effect that when done correctly can really help to add a lot of production value to your video.
If you enjoyed watching this video, then please do let me know in the comment section below. And don't forget to subscribe if you would like to see more videos like this one in the future. Thank you ever so much for watching. I really do truly appreciate it. I hope you're having the most amazing day today. I will see you next time.